Manisha ji, are you having fun right now in 2021 with everything that's gone on in the world, everything that's gone on in your life, in your personal life? You've overcome crazy things in the recent past. Are you having fun right now?
Absolutely, Sucharita. I don't live for tomorrow. I live for today, and and I'm really having a great time. I've been very, very grateful um, to overcome everything that I've gone through, and and work in such movies, a fabulous film like India's Sweet and Spices, and the fact that it's releasing in theater is also a great news for me. And now, next best news is I'm waiting that people love the film.
So you're having a good time. Like life right now is things are looking up. Life right now is happy. It's treating you well.
Absolutely, life is definitely full of happiness. Yes.
Very happy. I'm so happy to hear that. Um, talking about this character that you play in this film, Sheila, she is
Mhm.
the one who has the most marked internal arc. She starts somewhere and where she ends is a completely different place throughout the film. Now,
Right.
how much of this character is actually Geeta Malik's mother that you are playing in this film? Is this autobiographical for your director?
That you should ask her.
But did she share notes with you like, okay, so this is what my mom was like growing up as an Indian American?
Basically, I got the script through a friend of mine, Kilian, and I love the script. I had no clue who's going to be directing. I had no clue who's going to be acting. He just sent me the script, and I take a few days to read the script, but this was like in few hours I finished it. So what I do remember is that it had really gripped my attention. It was not a heavy film; it was light-hearted film, but a very serious message. A really nice and very subtly, nicely, it says what it has to say. So um, I love the whole script, and then we discussed about who is going to be directing and who's going to be acting and all that. It just came secondary. And once I got to know Geeta, we spoke over the phone from Mumbai, and she was in LA, I think. And with all the time differences, we found time to talk to each other a couple of times. And she actually didn't mention that it was Sheila's as her mom's thing, but I kind of was guessing maybe it's her mom or not, and but it's a beautiful, beautiful role. I love playing Sheila.
I believe that any woman who's writing a story and then directing it, and that story is about her relationship with her mother, is inadvertently writing about herself. So I will ask her this at some point. But I think, I mean, Hannah, all of us have the most personal stories to us are our own stories. And if it's a story about your relationship with your mother, I mean, it has to be your own personal story about your mother, I believe. Which is what really comes across. When you see the title of a film, which is about Indians living in America and other Indian Americans, and the title of the film is India Sweets and Spices. There's a little trepidation that is this going to be full of just stereotypes that Indian food is sweet and spicy, and hence all the people who are Indians are also sweet and spicy. But that's not what happens in the film. It is not stereotyping of Indians who live in America. So when you approached the film, were you a little concerned about stereotyping the Indian community that lives in America and how the film is going to move around that?
Not really, because when I read the script, I wasn't even sure that I was going to do or not. This. But once you read the script, you know the essence of the story. You know the essence of the film and the soul of the film. And I was sold there and then. And the spirit of the film does not typically. It talks about overall any traditional family, not only Indian American, but any South Asian families, So, there was no concept of stereotype thing, because in the script, it's you get what the director is trying to tell you. So that was larger than the just putting in a box and making it stereotype.
Yeah, yeah, because it comes from the same team of people who made Crazy Rich Asians. So you know that there is a sense of responsibility that is associated with this production. That we are going to show the reality of actual people who live in America, who don't look like Captain America. They're not white blonde people, but they're as much a part of the American ecosystem as anybody else is.
Absolutely.
So I was quite relieved to see that it does not fall into those traps. Um, the film is also the story of a teenager coming of age, which is such an
Hmm.
interesting time in any young girl's life. That moment where she begins to realize that she's an adult and she has responsibilities, but also as girls turning into women, we begin to love and respect our mothers for what they've been through around that 18, 19, 20, and that's universal. That's just a universal thing. So while working in this film, while playing this mother, this Sheila character, who's now on the other side of things, and she even says to Alia at one point, maybe you should take a class that teaches you how to respect your mother. I love that line. Didn't all our mothers have said this to us at some point.
Same here. No one is exceptional.
And then you realize you have been very mean to your mother, and she has been through what she's been through in her life to give you this. But did it bring you back to your own time as like a 18-year-old, where when you began to realize that your mother is actually the best person ever?
Abs- Absolutely. I think mother-daughter relationship is very special bond. There's so much apnapan. There's so
Yeah.
much of that you take it for granted that she's going to be there for you, and you can get away many times by being mean to her, and mothers actually normally do take it, and sometimes they snap out and give it back, and maybe sometimes more than it's necessary, but but it's a very unique equation between mother and daughter. It's a very unique bond, and always my mother earlier on used to say, you will understand me later on, and many times I've been a rebel, and I've had this dialogues and conversations and all that. And now I'm slightly more mature, and then I do realize, where she's coming from and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, in
Just
in
like
in 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 Alia's, in my case, though, it's the Alia who actually pushes the mother on a right path, which is something really extraordinary and good.
mother-daughter's relationship becoming real are my favorite kind of movies. Amy Poehler did it with Moxie, Greta Gerwig did it with Lady Bird. Incredible films. But
Yeah.
did the role of Sheila, who's kind of this now protective figure to this young girl who's beginning to make her way into the world, there's a reason why she has just gone to UCLA and now she's seen the real world, and then she's come back and she's now comparing in her mind what the world outside of her parents' home is. There's a reason why in the script that this character is at that age in her life, and that she's not 13 years old. She's at that age where she's gone out into the world. Did it bring you back, Manisha, to your time when you were first making your way in the world? You were first making your entry in the Hindi film industry as a leading actor, and the Hindi film industry was completely different back then. It was not what it is right now. There was no internet, there were no management agencies, none of that. There were no organized interviews like this, streamlined. Did it bring you back to that time and how you maneuvered through life when you were that age starting out?
I did many a times. Many incidences did remind me of my time, and I could relate to what Alia was going through. Um, um, and absolutely, and uh, when we all are younger, when we are young, we have this like fire in the belly. We have this idealism in our head, and want to be different, we want to be bold. And so many a times that, life happens and we tend to compromise, and we tend to say, okay, maybe I was wrong when I was young, and maybe I should, find my way, the way the world is functioning. I don't want to go against the stream of life, but I want to flow with the stream. And that's where the Sheila's character is. And what I found unique in the script, by the way, I feel mothers are normally right, usually right. And but in this movie, I think it was the daughter who puts mother right back onto the track of what she was when she was young.
Yeah, yeah. She reminds her of what she stood for. Back when you were that age, feminist was not a word that we could use openly in anywhere. I'm a feminist was not something that the way Sheila says it at that party, we were feminists. It was something to be ashamed of. Not anymore. I have 50 shirts in my cupboard that say feminist very boldly on the shirt. Did you relate with Sheila? How much did you relate with her, the character that you had to play?
Okay, so personally, I am a feminist, so I definitely identify with her younger self, and I feel in my career, also I've always tried to have the equal footing and equal respect and equal space, and it always bothered me that in a society, uh, what men, if the same act would be performed by men and women, there were two different meaning of the act, just because based on sexuality. And I mean, I don't want to go too much onto that, but I faced many difficulties, and I stood my grounds. And so I think the younger part of Sheila, I definitely identify with. And maybe at parts I could be superficial. Um, I don't want to say that I've always been flawless. Um, so,
You're flawless.
mm,
You're so flawless.
ah,
Did I say I
thank
love
you for the
you? I
laugh.
love you. Such a
Thank you
stan.
so much. Thank you.
Okay, what would you say to young Alias now? Young girls who are watching cinema, who are watching movies, who are specifically watching movies with women protagonists. What would you say to those girls?
Well, I actually would want to say to the young Sheila, actually, that you should be proud of who you are, and you are on the right track, girl. You are fighting for the rights which you deserve. Every human being has a rightful place under the sun, a respectful place under the sun. And um, and if you, it's not only about you, but of course it starts from you, and it goes on to the other people who watch you, who get inspired by you. um, and you could speak for people who are voiceless, and support them. So instead of getting bogged down with the pressures of life, take the pressure head on. And I guess, um, what Alia told her mom is what I would say to young Sheila, and to continue with that.